Before Iroh died, he left behind a book with a lot of memories and details about his death. This is what he had to say. He starts off the book by telling Zuko that this is a gift for him. Now, this book will represent the truth, or as Iroh puts it, a truth from his perspective. Or at the very worst, this is a place for him to catch up with his thoughts before they leave his head and he passes on. His intentions with this book is to pass down all that he has learned to Zuko. This is the legacy of the Fire Nation. I hope these pages remind you of my voice and my presence, for you know that I will always be with you. Man, I know this is just a cartoon, but this is so sad to read. Iroh later goes on to say that he prays that this will not be a burden, but a comfort, and that he wants us to be a gift for Zuko. Most knowledge must be earned, but he's hoping this book will allow Zuko to borrow this knowledge and aid him into making good choices and owning his experiences. He tells Zuko to know that he will always be thinking of him, and by gifting him this story, it'll add to Zuko's. Now get to reading. If you don't, I'll come back as a grumpy spirit and haunt you. Only joking, kind of. With love, your uncle, Iroh. This book also has letters that Team Avatar wrote to Iroh himself. In Aang's letter, he thanks Iroh over and over again. He praises him for staying by Zuko's side and never giving up on him. He tells Iroh that he wouldn't have been the Avatar he is today without him. In Katara's letter, she talks about the time that they were enemies, and even though they were once enemies, no matter what side Iroh happened to be on, he always seemed to do the right thing. She mentions how he always led Zuko in the right direction, and how he's always done great things like with the Moon Spirit and how he saved them in the Ba Sing Se prison. She ends off the letter by saying, "Thank you, dear Iroh, for always being exactly who I needed you to be. Oh yes, and I miss your incredible tea. Gratefully, Katara." Honestly, Sokka's letter was kind of disrespectful. I wasn't really a big fan of it, but Sokka basically just said, "Oh well, Katara forced me to write this letter because she's motherly," and that's pretty much it. Now, Toph's letter is kind of cute. She mentions how Katara wrote it because, you know, she's blind, and she doesn't know what Iroh's better at, making puns or bending. Iroh later goes on to describe his death. He tells Zuko this: "We have reached the part of my book when we must face an uncertain future. I have shared our family's ancient past and the story of our journey together in order to give you the benefit of an old man's perspective, such as it is and was. But now we are entering virgin territory, and it is thrilling. It took me decades to develop the knack for it, but now, the unknown fills me with excitement. And for you, I wish days of hope, a belly full of gratitude, and eyes filled with optimism. That undiscovered country over the hill waits for all of us, who are ready to embrace the dream of tomorrow." He later says that he has decided that he will journey to the spirit world and leave this body behind. This is a journey he must take alone. He goes on to say that only the enlightened may travel to the spirit world and return, so that he must have done something right. "I will meditate and leave my body and my bending behind. My work is done in this world now, and I'm sure there are travelers in the spirit world whose chi needs my tea." Later he says, "I wish you were coming with me, but I know you have so much good left to do here in this world. Your work is not done, my nephew."